Okay, we are recording. Secretary Robinson, again, thank you for allowing me this opportunity to speak with you. So I'm just going to get right into it. I spoke to Christy Ritchie yesterday. She's been waiting 25 weeks for an interview. She's a single mom, had to leave her job after her child's daycare center closed. Darren emailed me. He's been waiting 9 weeks, can't get a job without a car, doesn't have a car because he couldn't pay his bills. Shilry has waited 4 months. Her belongings are about to be auctioned. I could go on and on and on, and I know that you've heard all of this before, and I greatly appreciate that you have allowed legislators and myself to send lists of claimants for you all to work through. However, recently the legislative liaison said that it could take 4+ weeks to contact claimants and could take several months for personal interview. The state has provided millions to hire more personnel. What's it going to take to reduce these wait times?
Well, I think we're doing everything in our power to do just that. Every single one of these claimant stories, hits close to home. These are our friends, family, and neighbors. And you're right, we talk to these claimants every single day. I have personally spoken to claimants that are waiting for interviews. I will tell you, even in non-pandemic times, our claimants wait for interviews. I always want to kind of put that reminder out there. Obviously, with the volume that we're dealing with, the wait time is longer at this point in time. That's to be expected. However, we are staffing up at a rapid rate. We now have 575 call center agents answering phones. 150 of those just came online this past week. Those agents are also being cross-trained to handle other types of issues on claims, so that when we do get someone on the phone, we can handle as much of their problem as possible. For example, if they're held up because they need fraud review, or if they've uploaded documents for proof of income that need to be reviewed, those agents are being cross-trained not only to take claims, answer questions, forward them to the right people, but also to do more of the work. We know it's important for our customers not to have to talk to 5 different people. However, the adjudication side is a different type of expertise, which is why we hired a vendor through a competitive RFP named Alarica to staff up on that end as well. Those adjudicators come with paralegal experience, investigative experience, insurance experience, so that they can dive in and help us attack the backlog of claims that are waiting for interviews and investigations. I will remind you, these are the claims that have employer disputes. So in many other states that are not mitigation states, these are the claims that would be denied and be going through the appeals process. In Maryland, we work really hard for the benefit of our customer to try to get those claims resolved and try to find a way to pay them benefits, even if it's partial benefits. That means, unfortunately, that they have to go through this adjudication process. So I have the training team for the new vendor in training all this past week. The first tranche of actual adjudicators that training team is going to be managing will be trained next week. And by the end of next week, December 14th, be in our system and making calls to hopefully many of the claimants that you have spoken to get those interviews and investigations completed so that we can make a determination on their claim and let them move forward with their lives.
Are those adjudicators, are they working through the 44,000 pending cases?
They will be, we have teams of adjudicators internally as well, but it's overwhelming, as you can imagine. So yes, those are going to come in and work on that 40, what are our numbers? 44,159, 41,000 of those, as you probably know, are the ones with complex disputes from the employer. So yes, that adjudication team will come in to augment our own staff to get through that backlog, and then also deal with, of course, the new claims come in that get triggered for adjudication.
How many total adjudicators will you have with this new vendor? And is there an average of, the number of cases they're able to resolve each day?
Well, that is yet to be seen in terms of how quickly we will be able to get through it. However, we will be bringing on no less than 25 adjudicators per week, essentially for as long as it takes to get through the backlog and get the job done.
I understand that you said up to 575 call center agents right now. People are still, telling me how they're having a hard time getting through, and with jurisdictions now closing restaurants and businesses again. How will you handle the new influx? And also, are you exploring any other ways of communicating with these with these claimants? Are you considering in person with safety measures in place? Is there any other creative steps that you're taking?
So yes, I'm glad you asked that. And it's interesting. The number of complaints about people not being able to get through to us have significantly reduced. I spoke to a claimant earlier this week who actually called in and spoke to one of our aides 3 different times in the same day. I do understand that sometimes, for whatever reason, the Monday after Thanksgiving weekend was a very high call volume day because people had been off and taken time and everybody wanted to speak to us. So we received, 30-some thousand calls that day. When we have, even if we have almost 600 people answering the phone, we can't answer every single one of those calls. We also still have the problem that we are dealing with the repeat callers. Some people have an app and they call over and over and over again, and it unfortunately clogs up different phone lines in our queue. We're working with Verizon, we're working with our IT vendor to solve all of those problems. We reduce one issue and a new issue arises. So it's a constant battle. However, we do also have a new tool with Salesforce, a well-known company. It's an email tool, and you probably have seen on our website, and we have legislators utilizing this. We've provided an inquiry form. So instead of, in the early days of the pandemic, you may remember we were talking about asking people, trying to pull people off the phone lines and asking them to call or email our inquiry email box. Then that box got overwhelmed. And we were pulling people off phones to try and answer emails. So this new inquiry form link allows a claimant to submit an inquiry through a Salesforce tool where we have lots of different ways to track and report. It eliminates duplication because it provides the claimant gets a response with a case number. And for our agent, when they go in to resolve an issue or to call that claimant or email them back, they can see every inquiry related to that particular claim. So they're not resolving one issue and then finding out the next day that there were 4 others submitted through another legislator's office or to another agent in our department. They're able to see everything in one place. That has already created huge value, I think, for our customers and eliminated, time and effort of waste on the back end for our team. The newest feature for that tool in the response that a claimant gets is a case lookup link. So not only does the claimant get their case number, but there's a link to look up the status of their case. So if a claimant clicks on that link, plugs in their case number, they will see that the case is assigned to an agent in progress. Last date the case was modified. Obviously, they have a lot of information in their beacon tool, which we like them to check. But this is an easy way for them to see that someone is working on their claim, when it was last worked on. Maybe if they know that the date modified was, or this week, they may not call to find out to ask only that question. They submit another inquiry to ask something more specific. So we believe that's helping. And as our agents are trained even further in Salesforce and we start utilizing it to the most of its ability, I think it will be extremely helpful as we go forward.
We keep hearing how, you are adding more personnel, you're implementing new software, but yet like I mentioned, the backlog really hasn't changed drastically. Are you able to make any assurances that now that these people are in place and now that you're onboarding these adjudicators, is it going to take a month? Is it going to take 2 months? I mean, when can these people expect to have these personal interviews?
As quickly as we can possibly get to them. That's my answer. What I can tell you is you've probably seen with all the weekly claims numbers, there was a period of time the claims started to reduce, but they have gone back up. This week we had over 15,000 new claims. So while our pending numbers in the backlog look like they maybe haven't changed, we are resolving hundreds and hundreds of cases, every single day and week. But new claims come in and present new issues. So that number fluctuates up and down. It's hard to, share an accurate picture of how hard our team is working. The staff in my division of unemployment insurance is still working 7 days a week. We have tried to, get people on shifts on the weekends so that everybody is not completely burnt out. We do see, some light at the end of the tunnel in terms of just the level of stress on our end with at least having some augmented staffing through these vendor contracts. It's really helpful because my team wants more than anything, I think more than anyone, to resolve every single one of these cases. You can imagine how difficult it is to go home every single night late in the evening and still know you have this long list. Pre-pandemic, no UI employee would leave a list on their desk when they went home. They completed every single case, obviously, except for the complicated ones that are waiting for interviews and take time to complete investigations. But this has been very taxing. And so we have also provided all kinds of resources and training for our own team to benefit their own mental health, to help them get through this so that we can be of the most assistance to our customers.
Yeah, a major concern for a number of claimants is CARES Act funding running out and losing benefits through PUA and PEUC. Any idea how many Marylanders could potentially lose their benefits if there isn't additional funding through the CARES Act or a new program?
Sure. I don't have those numbers off the top of my head. It's hundreds of thousands of claimants that we have on PUA and PEUC. So some of them on PEUC may be eligible for extended benefits. Some on PUA, if they have taxable wages through an employer, sometimes they have different jobs, they may be able to come in and apply for regular UI. You probably saw the press release that went out this week. We also direct emailed every single customer in our database, and we are posting on social media and on our website, not only to make sure that every single claimant understands that these CARES Act programs are expiring and we need them to file every single eligible week, prior to the deadline at the end of the year, but we are also providing them with resources. Across state agencies, from Department of Human Services to Department of Housing and Community Development. We do have a lot of resources available for customers, and we want to make sure that we provide that warm handoff and specific links to specific programs if they need, supplemental food assistance, if they need eviction prevention or rental housing assistance. We are working with our partners in the state to provide those resources. It's you've heard the governor say it. I will echo his frustration with Congress right now because we have worked really hard during this pandemic to support our customers who are oftentimes laid off due to no fault of their own. And having a gap in services, I anticipate Congress is going to act and there's going to be some new program. And what I will tell you is, because of as difficult as it was to launch a new system in the middle of the pandemic, because we now have that system and those tools, whatever may come from Congress, we hope to be able to implement and get those resources to our customers very quickly. The technology will help us there. We will not be starting, from scratch like we were back in April. So that's a good thing. However, it still means there's a gap for our customers. It's just, it's not fair to our customers, and we're working with our federal delegation and doing everything in our power to make sure our customers are prepared, fill in the gaps where we can, and then of course be ready to get benefits to them under any new program that may be laid out.
What happens if someone applied for regular unemployment insurance? It turns out that they actually qualify under PUA, but it's after the end of the year and we're in this limbo. Would they be able to retroactively file?
So if there's something that needs to be reconciled in the system on our end from funding, that can all be handled after the deadline. Similarly, this was clear in our press release, but we still have had customers asking us, I'm waiting for my interview, I haven't received my determination, am I going to lose out on these PUA or PEUC benefits? The answer is absolutely not. If a determination is still being made, whenever that determination is made, January, February, hopefully not March, those claimants will be entitled to all benefits that are due to them, no matter the program, even if it was CARES Act. It's simply the people that are filing, receiving their benefits. If they have eligible weeks, we need them all filed prior to the expiration of the deadline.
Okay, and I just have two more quick questions. I know we're running short on time. So there have been over a dozen accounts of people who've had their benefits stolen from them after someone withdrew money from their accounts at ATMs, but the claimants had the cards in their possessions. Have you been hearing about this? And can you explain why UI debit cards don't have chip technology?
That would be a question for Bank of America, our partner. I have heard similar stories. Honestly, on my end, I have mostly been working with state police, U.S. Attorney's Office, and the Federal Office of Inspector General on all of our fraud issues, which present a little bit of a different issue than what you're explaining. But I have heard similar stories, and anytime those come to us, we forward that immediately to the high-level partners at Bank of America so that they can reach out to those claimants and work through those issues. We provide direct information for our claimants as well to contact Bank of America. But when we find out that there's something as egregious as what you just explained, we actually contact Bank of America on behalf of our customers and ask them to please reach out immediately and figure out what's going on.
I've definitely identified a pattern with this. I mean, besides just forwarding it to Bank of America, will there be a point where you have a conversation about how to make these cards more secure so these claimants keep their benefits?
We are on calls with Bank of America every single week for lots of different reasons. We have asked, they are a good partner. We have asked for a lot of additional steps, and some of those are things that Bank of America is working on, and some of those are things that we're told that they are not able to do. So again, that's really a direct question for Bank of America.
Okay. And then finally, a GAO report found that states aren't fully compensating PUA claimants, that they gave them the minimum amount just to kind of expedite the process. So I looked in Maryland, the average PUA payment is around $245 compared to the average UI payment in October. I think it was around $400. Is the Department of Labor working with PUA claimants to reimburse them for when they were given the minimum amount?
Absolutely. So you might have heard me say in the beginning that we are cross-training agents to do more and help customers through all steps of the process. Part of that, when a PUA claimant files a claim, we calculate the benefits based on the information that they provide to us, based on their, the numbers that they input that they are making on a weekly basis. However, they have 21 days to upload proof of income documentation, whether that's a 1099, invoices, contracts, receipts. And so after throughout the process, as we review and approve those proof of income documents, we have to reconcile. Sometimes we owe them more money, sometimes they owe us money, which is why we're trying to get through all of those proof of income as quickly as possible. So yes, that's happening every single day. We are sometimes a PUA claimant will get more money in 1 week than they have every week because we're making up for what the redetermined weekly benefit amount needed to be. I have to get on another call in like 2 minutes. So, but
no problem. I understand. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mallory.